Friends, welcome to Biology Made Easy. Today in this video we will discuss the paleontological evidence. So first we have to understand what is paleontology. Paleontology is a science which deals with the study of fossils. So naturally the next question is, what are fossils? Fossils are the remnants or the impressions of ancient organisms in a natural process in some medium, and the medium is mostly the rocks. So fossils are the preservatives or impressions of ancestors in a natural medium, in some surface which is mostly the rocks. That means the different organisms like plants or animals, when they fall down or due to some catastrophe, when they lay down on the earth, they are either directly preserved as such, or their impression is pressed against some rocks, which are known as fossils in the long run. So we have to understand the different things here, because the evidence from fossils is the most reliable evidence in favor of evolution. So when fossils are preserved in the form of impressions in the rocks, first we have to understand what are the different types of rocks. So the one type of rock is the igneous rock. Now this rock is formed directly by the solidification of the earth. So directly by solidification of earth, this rock has been formed, igneous rock. Now the second one is sedimentary rock. Now sometimes what happens, the igneous rock is broken either due to rain or heat or wind. It is broken either due to rain, heat or wind, and they are all washed away through the rivers and finally they reach the ocean. And ultimately the rocks are settled in the oceans, and ultimately they give rise to the limestone and sandstone. So these are the limestone and sandstone, they are the examples of sedimentary rocks. So they are formed out of the igneous rocks. Now the third type of rock is a metamorphic rock. Now sometimes what happens, in the sedimentary rocks, in the middle part, sometimes due to heavy pressure and heat, they melt. And again they solidify after melting, and that gives rise, that means in the core area of the sedimentary rocks, due to excess pressure and heat, they melt and again solidify, and that gives rise to the metamorphic rock. And the example is usually the marble. It is an example of metamorphic rock. Sorry. So these are the different types of rocks. Then in these rocks, the different fossils are present. So what are the different types of fossils? So in the next step we have to discuss the different types of fossils. Now one type of fossil is the molds or cast. Usually in organisms, those which are hard parts, the hard parts are usually preserved in the rocks. So they are known as molds or cast. The hard parts are usually preserved and the soft parts are there usually decayed. Then the Second type is petrified. Here the tissues are replaced by minerals. That means the soft tissues are decayed and they are filled by the minerals. So depending upon where the tissues are present, the minerals are settled there. So that is known as the petrified. And the third one is impressions. So these are usually fine grained sediments. That means in the very fine grain form, they are just in the rock surface, they are in form of different lines they are present. That is the impression. Suppose we'll put ink in our palm and we'll put it in board. So like that will give one impression. So like that the impressions are formed. And the fourth one is imprints. Now imprints are usually mostly the footprints or trails on mud. That means suppose some animals walked in mud. So those footprints or trails, how that animal has walked, from that print is preserved in the form of fossil. So from that we can study what type of organism it was. And the fifth type is coprolites. These are usually the fecal pellets. So from the fecal pellets also they are converted to fossils, and from that we can guess what type of organism it was. So these are the different types of fossils, and when we are discussing the fossil evidence, we must know the different types of fossils as well as the rocks. Then the next point that we will discuss is how can we determine when we find the different types of fossils, a particular fossil is formed how many years back? How can we know it? So for that there are different methods. That is determination of age of fossils. So there are different methods. Number one is uranium lead method technique. So here the half-life of uranium is 4.5 billion years. 4.5 billion years. That means in 4.5 billion years, half of the uranium will melt. So from that we can guess what is the age of the rock. Then the second type is carbon dating. And here the half-life is 5,600 years. And it can estimate maximum fossils of 25,000 years. That means by carbon dating we can estimate the age of fossils which are formed only recently. The earlier ones, those which are formed beyond this 25,000 years, that cannot be determined. The third one is potassium argon method. So here the half-life is 1300 million years, or you can tell 1.3 into 10 to the power 9 years. So this is also one of the methods by which we can calculate the age of the fossils. And the fourth method is electron electron spin resonance method, and this is the most accurate and latest method. This is the most accurate and latest method by which we can determine the age of fossils of any years old. So this is nowadays used, this electron spin resonance method. In short, is known as ESR method. So in this way we can determine the age of the fossils, and usually questions also come from this part. Then the next part that we will discuss is the geological time scale. So without knowing all these things, we cannot cite the different evidences, because we cannot understand unless we understand these things. So the next point that we will discuss is geological timetable. That means since the formation of Earth, how the different types of fossils and the different types of organisms they have developed, and in which era they were extinct, all these things, the details that we'll discuss. So the entire geological timetable is divided into different eras. Then the eras are divided into epochs. The epochs are divided into periods. But we will not discuss all those details. We will discuss only the era and epochs, because usually question comes up to the epochs. So this is very important. So if we write here era, then epoch, then million years. So the first era that is now running is Cenozoic. And the Cenozoic, it has two epochs. One is quaternary and the other is tertiary. So this is only 2 million years and this is 65 million years. That means from the 65 million years back, the present Cenozoic era is continuing. Then the second one is Mesozoic. The Mesozoic is divided into three epochs. So this is Cretaceous, and it starts 135 million years. Then Jurassic 145 million years, and Triassic 225 million years. This is Mesozoic. Then the third one is Paleozoic. It has usually 6 epochs. So number 1 is Permian, and number 2 is Carboniferous, then Devonian, then Silurian, then the 5th is Ordovician, and the other is Cambrian, and it started around 570 million years. This is Cambrian. Then after this, the Fourth one. The fourth one is Proterozoic. Proterozoic is not divided into epochs and it starts out to 3000 million years. Then the fifth one is Archaeozoic. Archaeozoic, it is usually 3500 million years back. And the last one is Azoic, that is 4500 million years back, or you can tell 4.5 billion years back. So this is the this is the geological time scale. That means after origin of Earth, we know that the Earth originated 4.5 billion years or 4500 million years back. So from that time till the present time, how the different fossils have been formed, that we will discuss. So now let us discuss the different evidences for this. Evidences. Now number one evidence is number and nature of fossils. Number and nature of fossils. This is the first evidence. That means if we look into the table, we will find that in the Azoic, during the Azoic there is no life. That means life has not originated during Azoic period. That means 5 million years. As we have discussed in the earlier videos, life originated during only 3.5 billion years back. That means 3500 million years back. So in this only life originated. And the first life originated was only some prokaryotes. Then come to the Proterozoic. In Proterozoic only there will be some primitive forms like the prokaryotes. That means the fossils were very scanty fossils. Scanty fossils. That means the fossils were very less in number because the organisms were not formed at that time. Only certain prokaryotes and certain primitive plants and animals. Very primitive. Or you can tell mostly the prokaryotes are present. Finally, in these periods, in Archaeozoic, there is no evidence of fossils. Now, from this Paleozoic onwards, we will get to different types of fossils. So, the first point is the number and the nature of fossils. That means the fossils, they were first formed in the Proterozoic. Before that, there was no fossil. And most of the fossils, they are found in this Paleozoic. In Paleozoic, you will find abundant fossils. Abundant fossils. And these fossils are mostly that of the, if you write here the animals, and here we will write plants. That means the flora, fauna. Then during this period, this Paleozoic period, we will get the early reptiles, amphibians, fishes, and invertebrates. And the plant side, in the plant side also we will get only some of the algae and fast land plants. So fast land plants means the bryophytes and ferns. We can write also the ferns and mosses. That means in the fauna side, the earlier reptiles, amphibians, fishes and invertebrates, they were abundant in this era, Paleozoic era, and they were fossilized. That means abundant fossils will get of these different forms. Now, if we come to this Mesozoic, in Mesozoic we will get the different types of birds, reptiles, and the most prominent is dinosaur. The dinosaur was dominant during this Jurassic period. If you have seen that cinema Jurassic Park, so the dinosaur was dominant during this Jurassic period, and the fossil of dinosaur belongs to this period. And among the plants, you will get the fossils of ferns and earlier conifers. Mostly you will find that of the cycas and the other cycas related, or you can write better cycadophilicals, because cycas is living. So the cycadophilicals, they are related to cycas. So you will get, while in this cenozoic period, again we will get a different abundant fossils. So in this period we will get the angiosperms. Angiosperms means dicots, monocots, and here in the animal side we will get the man. Earlier we will get monkeys, apes, primates, and other mammals, birds. All these things we will get. So the earlier the man was also evolved in this Cenozoic period. So in this, if we will analyze the entire fossils, suppose we can take it, this is second point. The second point is a distribution.